Do you know these tits, Errol?
I know a lot of tits, Governor, but I don't know any quite as stupid as these two.
How much time? 30? 30 seconds? I'm on right now. I don't believe you. What?
It's a Wet You Whistle Wednesday, people. A Wet You Whistle World War Wednesday. In fact, welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host, Lefty. Let's brew this thing, people. Welcome one, welcome all. Brew crews in the house. Davinia making another early appearance at 8:15. Nice to see you, Davinia. Graham Turner's also with us, and Doc Davies. Flunky, nice to see you as well. Hope everybody's all good this eve. What a time to be alive. What a week it is already. Please do hit thumbs up as you join us on stream, good people. And we do have a poll, pretty straightforward. General one about the longevity of the current war in Iran. So do you think it'll be weeks, months or years before it's over? I think Trump probably thought it was already going to be done and dusted. Last time around it was just Israel launching shit at Iran, and then America for the last couple of days, and then it was all over after 12 days. Well, it's been just as long this time around, still no end in sight. But will that last for weeks, months or years? Just let us know in the poll. That will be open throughout the entire stream. As per every Wednesday, of course, it's a PMQs, it's a Keith's Catchphrases, a first time viewing and reaction from yours truly, and we'll see what comes up this time around. More stories to get into as well. UK politics, We do have some good news as well. It's not all doom scrolling and gloom. Oh, no spoilers, Davinia. Well, we'll see. That comes up. Another Vietnam, though, good question. People have made that comparison, made that analysis. It's another quagmire, that's for sure. Whether it'll go as far as Iraq or Iran. Sorry, Iraq or Vietnam. Yeah, that remains to be seen. Graham sees no way out. As Big Jerry also joins us. Very good evening to you. With Andy Carter also just landing. How do you brew? Well, I was just about to start the members roster. In fact, newly updated because of some generous donations, including from people I can see on screen right now. We managed to get over the 200 mark, 211. Really do like that. You might have noticed that one there, that slide. Just skip over. It was worth moving all the lettering to the side for with the name. Let's just recap. Just pick one new name out in particular, I believe, from yesterday's generous gifted memberships. Thank you very much once again. We'll see it in a moment. You can see a lot of new faces here, but Israel does not have a right to defend itself there, warranting shifting the rest of the text over to the side. We don't do that for the ones with just elaborate icons and fonts strung together, unfortunately. And you might see a couple of blank spaces, which is where the where the editing software just basically refuses. It's like, what is that? So apologies if there are any blank spaces, but thank you very much to all 211 now. Wow, incredible. We're getting so close now to that target of 250. We can smell it in the air. But will we see it with our left eye before the week is done? Just 39 to go. Thank you very much for all of your support. We really do appreciate it, as always. Not just gifted memberships, of course. Super chats, super stickers, also massively helpful. Thanks a bunch, thanks a million for those. They're also active now if you're watching live. And super thanks also if you're watching back later on. Thank you very much for all of those, as well as people who've bought us coffees on the Buy Me a Coffee page. Yeah, do help keep us caffeinated. You can check out the link in the description of any content on the channel. You might want to use the new hype feature as well if you're watching any of our content on a mobile device. Thank you, every single one of you. The Marvellous Brew Crew and the ever-expanding expanding community. Divinia enjoying a bit of supper there. Nice. Yeah, thank you very much for those 60 gifted memberships yesterday. Awesome stuff, Divinia. Wow, long-term viewer and supporter of the channel, and I can see quite a few more of you in the chats as well. I think I've done all of the thanks and self-promotion for now. We'll get to things in just a couple of moments. I've got a fresh one myself. I've even got a cup of tea. No, I do have a fresh brew. Don't know why that reminded me of a random other sketch. In a department store. Do you sell aftershave? Certainly, sir. Walk this way. Well, if I could walk that way, I wouldn't need aftershave. Yes, get on with it.
On with it. Yes, get on with it.
We will. Do have my customary bits to get through, of course, at the top of streams.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We've got a comedy clip first, and it's debut, actually, from someone who hasn't featured on the channel before. It's very on the nose. You can say that for sure. It's pretty brief. And I've just reminded myself that I haven't put the... Oh no, there isn't a link, because it's not from a YouTuber, actually. That's why there isn't a link in the description. But I'll put a link to social media or something for who I believe is the original uploader, the content provider. You may have heard of them, but it's the first time on a My Left Eye live stream for Jesus Motorcycle. That's, yes, you heard that correctly. Jesus Motorcycle. Won't ask why. That's fine. Call yourself what you like. I mean, there's even someone called Israel Does Not Have the Right to Defend Itself who is subscribed to the channel, evidently, and if you are watching, yeah, nice username. So, no, it's not Jonathan Pye, actually. But check this out. Oh, I do have to say, of course, a few quick observations. I'll give it away, of course, but it is artificial intelligence. You'll obviously understand why as soon as I start to play it, because it features someone who is supposedly, air quotes, deceased, question mark, asterisks. So Jesus Motorcycle with a pretty bang on the nose infomercial, actually. I think it's the proper format.
A team! Sean! We're going to war, soldier! Well, you are, not me. It's time to get boots on the ground!
It's Jeffrey's War. Are you a pathetic gooner looking for love?
Aren't we all? Well, we've got plenty of ladies.
And they're just waiting for liberation.
All you have to do is beat our challenge.
It's time to roll the die on your lives!
Let's see what these boys won. It's crippling PTSD and higher gas prices.
A brand new luxury casket!
You answered C, and you are correct.
Do you have what it takes to play with Jeff Correct?
We want you to play Jeffrey's War. Check your local TV listings.
Very good from Jesus Motorcycle. Just want to go to the bit where it was a multiple choice quiz, because I didn't... there's a bit there. It was very fast. So the question is, why did Israel bomb an elementary school? Was it A, Iranian soldiers were hiding there? B, they actually bombed themselves? C, the school children were terrorists? Or D, school was a military base? It was C. Got that correct. In Jeffrey's War, which is, of course, CGI, AI, computer-generated. Sloppity-doppity. But I thought that was quite good. There is a lot of crap out there at the moment, though, isn't there, people? My goodness. Comrade Comrie, welcome. Freedom for Wales. Solidarity. We do, of course, support both Scottish and Welsh independence here on my left eye. A united Ireland, also. Let's get a few things clear right from the get-go for anybody who's not familiar with the channel. Solidarity. So, we'll get straight into PMQ's and Keith's catchphrases now. Strap yourselves in, people. Keep your votes coming in the poll. This is a polling stream.
Oh no.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole. Plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, another week is upon us. Comes round so quick, doesn't it? What's it all about? What is Keith's catchphrases? Very summarily, we pit two words or phrases against one another and keep counts, keep a tally of how many times they're mentioned. It's fairly simple, but you do also have to look out for the hidden feature, a hidden word or phrase. So it's more or less as simple as that, but there are still a few rules and caveats. Let's take a look at those. First of all, the words or phrases have to be spoken by Starmer himself, now, unless it's the hidden feature, in which case it's anyone from the opposition. 2, it's winner stays on, unless they've already played all of the other contenders, and in fact this week's defending champion from last week has played almost all of the other contenders so far. We'll see who the challenger is in just a moment. 3-1 victor last time around. Third rule, slight variations are allowed, for example past tenses, pluralisation, that kind of thing. I'll be the judge where that's concerned, and we do have a league, and where that's concerned as well, it's 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and nothing for a loss. Very simple. Any questions? Post them in the chats. These are the current standings, by the way, in the league. Current champion Security, returning victoriously last week, has played 6 and garnered 15 points with 23 mentions. Shortly behind Postman Twat, who represents the word deliver, 10 points. Then Budget, then Change, then Clear, who is tonight's challenger, one of the few contenders that Security hasn't played. Clear's actually the most recent addition to the league and won the members' votes. It's the members' choice. So that's the current standings at the top. Not a lot of action at the bottom since last time around, of course. Plan in 6th, Deal in 7th, last week's loser, Fix in 3rd, not garnering any points out of 3 appearances now. Black Hole in 9th, and then... Sorry, did I get that the right way around? Yeah. Black Hole in 9th, and then 10th place, Inheritance. So it's going to be Security versus Clear this evening. Hoping for a good fight. Security again having a very good chance because of geopolitical situations, of course. Clear being one of those sort of evergreen ones that sort of always has a chance. Not just with Keith, but with a lot of politicians. As it goes. Right, everybody got that? I think everybody does. Let us begin. Just a reminder, this is a first time. Excuse me. Sorry about that. This is a first time viewing for me, so no spoilers in the chat if you've already seen it. Don't say like, oh, this is about to happen or whatever. Genuine first time reaction from me. Right, let's rock and roll over with Lindsay Hoyle. So there you see security at the top, clear underneath. The score is reset, and off we go. Where is he? There he is.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions. We start with Serena Brackenbridge.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh no,
Speaker.
welcome
Question
this
one.
all.
Prime Minister.
Straight into it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our armed forces are working day and night to protect British lives and British interests in the Middle East. The RAF have flown over 230 hours of defensive operations over multiple countries, shooting down multiple drones, protecting British lives and our allies.
How is that protecting British lives? That exponentially increases the risk of counter-attacks to that, perhaps even, let's hope not, terrorist attacks on British soil, which obviously we don't want to see. But it's reckless and irresponsible in that regard. And if you're going to have boots on the ground, which you're dragging your feet on, but will do eventually, I believe, then that's going to be even further unnecessary loss of life as well. It's the same old, isn't it? We're fighting a war for peace. It's like fucking for virginity.
We thank them for their courage and for their professionalism. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Prime Minister, strengthening Britain's defence capability and rebuilding our industrial base has never been more important. Can the government's £1 billion helicopter investment with Leonardo UK support skilled jobs across the UK, including Tata Steel in Wensfield and my supply chains in Wolverhampton North East, where we are immensely proud of our Black Country steel and manufacturing?
Like, straight in with fucking helicopters, let's go. Yeah. Protect it, and always the creating jobs. There was someone else who was said to have created a lot of jobs, you know, about halfway through the 20th century, had a bit of a box moustache. An Austrian fella. Yeah?
Prime Minister ask relevant ministers to meet me to discuss securing more of those good jobs in Wolverhampton and Willenhall.
Prime Minister.
I can thank my honourable friend and very happy to arrange the
I love
meeting
helicopters.
that
He especially likes Dire Straits over the top of helicopter footage, doesn't he? He's down with the kids.
asking for. Our £1 billion investment in new helicopters is good news for steelmakers in her constituency and secures thousands of jobs across the United Kingdom. Mr. Speaker.
I'm allowing secures. I will allow that as a pass. So that's 1-0. A much quicker start than last week.
We're making defence an engine for growth. Jobs building helicopters, new Typhoons in the northwest, new frigates, creating a decade of shipbuilding on the
Go frigate
Clyde.
yourself.
A Labour government investing
Keith.
in our armed forces.
Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Benno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why does the Prime Minister think now is the right time to increase the cost of petrol?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we are not increasing the cost of petrol. We're absolutely clear in taking the measures that are necessary
and an
to
equaliser.
deal with the impact
Direct.
of the conflict in
Clear.
Iran. We're dealing with that with other allies. We're taking the necessary action. But the best thing that we can do, Mr. Speaker, is to work with others to de-escalate the situation. And Mr. Speaker, as I said to the House last week, I took the decision that we should not join the initial US-Israeli offensive against Iran. The leader of the opposition
But you did.
attacked me for that decision relentlessly. She said that the UK should have joined the US and Israel in the initial offensive strikes. Mr. Speaker, then yesterday, in the wake of the economic consequences, the leader of the opposition totally abandoned her position. She told the BBC, I never said we should join. She told the BBC, I haven't said we should have gone in with the United States.
I'm not familiar with this interview he's referring to, but she, of course, has said many times that she did want to go in, like, further, you know, with more intensity, more helicopters, more missiles, like, really, really crank that shit up. She said it quite a lot, but I'm not familiar with this, this interview he's referring to. Is this right? Has anybody else seen snippets of that?
That is the mother of all U-turns on the single most important decision a Prime Minister ever has to take, whether to commit the United Kingdom to war or not.
That is rich, coming from the guy who said that we wouldn't get involved and then just changed his mind hours later. Not that I'm defending Kemi Badenoch. They both give each other some pretty low-hanging fruit to pick at. Yeah. Make your own metaphors as you go.
Mr. Speaker, I think the mother of all U-turns is him saying that they're not increasing fuel duty. That is news to us because last week the Chancellor stood up and said the fuel duty was going to increase in September. The Prime Minister told us at the start of the year that the cost of living was his #1 priority. So can he explain how...
Sorry, Kemi, I've got some bad news for you. Pretty much everything that ever comes up becomes his #1 priority. He said that about literally everything, like across the board. Or it's our paramount concern. It's our #1 priority. Or the permutations thereon. But he says that about everything. And the NHS is our #1 priority. Illegal attacks on Iran now are his #1 priority.
A rise in fuel duty helps with the cost of living.
Mr. Speaker, fuel duty is frozen. It's going to remain frozen until September, and we will keep the situation under review in light of what's happening in Iran. But, Mr. Speaker...
You mean the fossil fuel companies haven't told you how much you're going to rip the British people off yet?
Mr. Speaker, the most important issue is de-escalating the situation. And I come back to the lead.
And you really do that by sending HMS Dragon and making demands and threats towards a foreign sovereign nation and backing an absolute lunatic, the one that's in the White House. Yeah, that really does reek of de-escalation. Meanwhile, in Spain, they are throwing out their Israeli ambassadors as we speak and have been very clear in saying we want absolutely nothing to do with this. Have a bit of backbone. De-escalation. And then, you know, defence. The barefaced cheek to call it defence when you're going halfway around the world to attack another country as well. Give me a break.
of the opposition's position, because this is one of the most important decisions a Prime Minister or Leader of the Opposition ever has to take, whether to commit your country to war. The day after the initial US-Israeli strike started, her Shadow Foreign Secretary said that the US-Israeli initial attacks were absolutely right.
Davinia, I'm not sure exactly how long it will take HMS Dragon to get there, but considering these things go about what, 25, 30 miles per hour, the equivalent of, obviously it's in nautical miles, but the equivalent of, it's, yeah, quite a while to get, you know, around the Horn of Africa, or whichever way it's going to go. Is it going to go through the Suez Canal, around the other side? Who knows which route it might take, but even if it went as the crow flies, it'd take bastard ages.
And it is a position my party supports. She said, why has the Prime Minister not actually worked with America to be much more proactive? Last Wednesday, Leader of the Opposition.
No,
we are in this war whether we...
God, it makes you so proud to be British now. Reduced to arguing about who wants this illegal attack on a foreign sovereign nation the most over the dispatch box is what we're reduced to at this present time on the 11th of March in the year of our Lord 2026.
Like it or not, what is the Prime Minister waiting for? Then yesterday she says, I never said, I know they don't want to hear it. I know they don't. I wouldn't want to hear it if I were them.
Hoyle.
After all that, she said...
Order. Enough is enough. I can't hear it. Who wants to lead the first ones out? Right, we'll have a little bit more silence.
Oh, God, you know. Substitute. Start again. Good evening, you're watching the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host. Substitute teacher vibes all the way is what I was trying to say with reference to Lindsay Hoyle. It's just so pathetic, isn't he, man? I might... Oh, carry on. I might get a bit angry and you'll have to go for another cup of tea. Well, I'll do the fucking tea bits here, Hoyle, okay? And I was in it before you were, mofo.
Minister. So after 9 days of saying, join the war, join the war, join the war, yesterday she says, I never said we should join. I haven't said we should go in with the US. I'll tell you what's happened, Mr. Speaker. She and the Reform leader have been spooked because they realise they've jumped into supporting a war without thinking through the consequences. And now she's furiously trying to backpedal.
The Prime Minister seems to be asking last week's questions. This week, I'm asking about fuel duty. He has said that he wants to help...
Well, yeah. To be fair, I mean, she's still absolutely crap, but that is the point that she was trying to make, and that's the one that he's avoiding. Again, they're reneging on their pre-election and post-election promises not to raise certain taxes. Rachel Reeves is just going to turn around and slap us all in the face again. And I think she came out today or yesterday, and she is such a genius, such an economic genius, because she has come to the absolutely unbelievable conclusion. You know, no one else could come up with this apart from her and her genius ways. But apparently the war isn't going to be particularly good for the economy because, well, between you and me, people, I hope that you can keep this to yourselves, you know, just like, you know, between us. Wars can tend to be rather expensive. Yeah. So if you're going to actually go out on one of these endeavours, you're going to need quite a bit of cash. Otherwise, you can end up in quite a bit of debt to the United quite a bit of states. But only for, 60, 70 years or something like that. What's that? Oh, Zelensky's on the other line. 100 billion? Yeah, just write the check. Send that out now. But we are going to have to go on TV and talk about difficult choices and tough decisions, people. That's the unfortunate consequence of war. It's not Rachel Reeves' fault. No.
Mr. Speaker, he has said that he wants to help with the cost of living. My constituents live in a rural area. They rely on their cars to get to the shops, take their kids to school, see their elderly parents. And they tell me the rising cost of petrol is the single biggest cost affecting family finances. So does the Prime Minister not understand how important cars are to people in rural areas, or does he just not care?
Prime Minister.
Well, to be honest, even as far back as the 1990s, the end of the Thatcher era, the start of the Major era, that's when the Tory party started to really, really get to work on the beginning of decimising public transport. Now, when it was still nationalised, there were certain services, certain routes on Britain's railways that ran at a loss. But there were obviously others that ran at a short profit to cover those losses and pay the staff and whatnot. I'm describing socialism. I'm loosely describing nationalisation, of course. And they took so much out of the rural areas that she's referring to. It was one of Thatcher and Major's biggest mistakes. And now here she is complaining that they all have to rely on cars when they live in their posh rural areas and unfortunately have to, won't somebody please think of the upper middle classes and their nice multi-million-pound houses in rural areas and the absolute trauma that they have when they have to drive to the retail park. I mean, it's absolutely shocking. Yeah, it's talk about first world problems.
Mr. Speaker, we're working across all departments.
Sorry, my main point as well being that we shouldn't be so car-centric like the United States is. We seem to be getting further and further towards that instead of what we should be doing with clean, renewable and free public transport like they have in other countries.
And with allies to deal with the impact of the conflict in Iran as the House would expect. But she says if I'd asked her last week, her position would have been, we support the initial strikes and we want to join the war. This week she says, we don't want to join the war. I'm sorry, that is a screeching U-turn. And Mr. Speaker, this is in this job, you don't get a second shot at making the right call on taking your country to war.
Well, he said it out loud, didn't he? He's taking our country to war. You don't get a second chance. It's either bloody war now or bloody war never. I knew it'd be bad. I knew he wouldn't be able to stand up to Trump when Trump got in again. But this is even beyond my worst fears, I think. Not just what he's doing to the country, but this now as well. The speed of it all. Because the process of us getting involved in the Iraq War, which was the last major conflict that we were involved with, was lengthy. Months of debate and so on and so forth, put through Parliament. And this time it's just, I'm going to stand at a lectern in front of a camera and tell the world that we're attacking Iran. And we have to do it now because Donald Trump says so, whether you like it or not. And I have to appease him and my Israeli lobbyist paymasters. So democracy, as well as sense and sanity, can go fuck itself. Because I'm Keith.
If she were Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we would be in the war. And she would be coming back to Parliament a week later to say, oh, sorry, I got that one wrong.
Order! 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 I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but unfortunately,
He's
we've
up
got to
again.
stick to Prime Minister's questions, not opposition questions. Kevin Bader up.
We're going to stick to Prime Minister's questions, not opposition questions, and then he announces the leader of the opposition to ask a question. Although there is the irony that, obviously, he answers the question. It should be Prime Minister's answers, some people say, of course, not Prime Minister's questions.
Mr. Speaker, he said if I were Prime Minister, HMS Dragon would have left a week ago. The only time... Mr. Speaker, the only...
He just wanted to shout order, got up and said nothing and sat back down again.
The only time he's taken decisive action was stopping Andy Burnham from standing in the by-election. But let's talk about what the people out there are worried about. I heard from a builder, Mr. Speaker, who has 115 employees using 75 vans. With the jobs tax, sky-high energy bills, and now a hike in petrol prices, that builder is having sleepless nights.
Well, he can't be doing too badly if he employs 115 people, for a start. Go on.
How does the Prime Minister justify a rise in fuel duty to that small business owner and millions more like him up and down the country?
Prime Minister.
There hasn't been a rise. It is frozen. There isn't going. It is frozen until September. And
The practical outcome of what is happening in Iran, Keith, has been an exponential rise in prices. I think I observed prices of diesel around 130, 135 a fortnight ago. Now it's almost £1.60 per litre, so and it's the same level of rise for unleaded as well. So where the question's concerned, where the actual cost is concerned, it's gone up. You can't do some clever accounting to stop, the number that's on a fuel pump going up, or it costing more people to fill up. Yeah, encourage more people, more businesses to switch to electric vehicles as well, for example, if possible. And they'd actually save money as well as they do it, as well as free themselves from the shackles of oil companies.
Mr. Speaker.
Keith doesn't want to encourage that, though. He's, in fact, I think, going to do a U-turn on a lot of the moratoriums on fossil fuels in the North Sea, and use this war as an excuse. That's something else that I can foresee coming. One of the other difficult choices and tough decisions he's going to have to make. Sorry, we had to burn the planet just a little bit more for just a little bit more war profit. That's life, kids. Welcome to the 2020s.
She mentions the HMS Dragon. Can I first start by thanking the Royal Navy who are serving on HMS Dragon? Can I second say that what's been happening is it's been carefully being loaded with the anti-strike ammunition and capability that it needs. And the Navy and civilians have been working 22-hour shifts in relationship. But in relation to those that are taking the action to defend us, what does she say? Just hanging about. Just hanging about. That's how she described our pilots in the region. Let me tell you what they've been doing. Flying sorties in 7 of the...
They've been spying on Palestinians to assist Israel in their genocide, and most recently assisting the United States of America in their illegal attacks on a foreign sovereign nation, because they think that they should decide who does and doesn't rule other countries without going through the proper channels. It does not make you proud.
10 countries in the region, day and night, taking out incoming strikes, protecting the lives of others,
doing
whilst
the war
risking
crimes.
their own. If she had any decency, she'd get up and she would apologise.
Mr. Speaker. Oh, hang on. I think they should wait for it. Mr. Speaker, I have never criticised our armed forces. I have criticised him.
Order. Mr. Swallow, you're going
She
out.
did actually
I've had enough.
say they were hanging about.
I believe they'll help me.
It's off again.
Mr. Speaker, I have never criticised our armed forces. I am criticising him and his decisions. And let me remind the House, Mr. Speaker, about his record on the armed forces. This is the same man who worked with Phil Shiner, a traitor to this country, who made up evidence to put our soldiers in prison for crimes they didn't commit. That is his record, so I won't take any lectures from him. And by the way, military families are also worried, the ones in this country, about petrol prices. He's got nothing to say on that. And there's another group of people, Mr. Speaker, who
nice static emojis in the chat, Graham.
Government. Farmers. I spent all last
Like
year
it.
telling the Prime Minister that his family farms tax was killing British farming. Now, those farmers are being punished with higher fuel prices. Does the Prime Minister think that's fair?
So, Mr. Speaker, no apology to our pilots who are risking their lives. And I'm not going to take lectures from someone who says we should join the war, and a week later says, "Can I change my mind? I got that wrong." It is deeply embarrassing. And she's not the only one.
Well, again, no fan of Kemi Badenoch, but that would be the sensible thing to do. You might just look at yourself and go, actually, what the hell am I doing back in this psycho nonce maniac in his Iranian endeavours? Maybe I don't want to do some war crimes. Maybe I don't want to back the guy that's denying that American weapons deliberately, are you listening, Anne Widdecombe? Deliberately struck a school and killed 160 people. That would be the right thing to do. It's called, personal development, learning. It could be your own character arc, if you like, Keith.
Mr. Speaker, last week she's not the only one, the leader of reform. We should be part of this with the US and the Israelis. We have to get rid of the regime. We should do all we can to support the operation.
Openly backing wanted war criminals. Get this fucking prick off my screen.
I make that perfectly clear, he said. Until yesterday, screeching U-turn, we shouldn't get ourselves involved in another foreign war. Two parties packed with failed Tories, led by leaders who are not fit to be Prime Minister.
And that's the best he can do to sound what he considers tough. Or to have a firm stance and firm resolve during times of war. And during times of crisis, it is absolutely beyond ridiculous.
That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard.
Mr. Speaker, he doesn't want to talk about fuel duty because he has got absolutely no answers. The Conservatives are on the side.
Well, you've only got one or two questions left, so I'd suggest you ask something different if you know he's not going to answer.
Of farmers. We are also on the side of drivers. We froze fuel duty every year from 2011, and in fact, we cut it in 2022 because we care about the cost of living.
Cut the green crap,
drivers are a cash
says
cow.
Kemi.
And now, Mr. Speaker, they think that drivers are a cash cow, and now they're hiking fuel duty for the first time in 15 years. Everyone in this house knows the pattern. First, he'll march his backbenchers.
Yeah. You get up and talk shit, and then he gets up and talks shit. Been doing this for fucking months.
Up the hill.
Years.
Then they'll be forced to defend fuel duty
outside of
rises
this
in the
channel.
local elections. Then there'll be another humiliating U-turn. So why doesn't the Prime Minister just stand up, admit he's got it wrong again, and scrap the fuel duty hike now?
Mr. Speaker, in the last 2 weeks...
He's spent the last however long denying that the hike exists, but you persist in asking him about it, as though you'll get a different answer and he'll go, OK, you've got me, it's a fair cop, as though that's ever come out of Keith's mouth.
I've made two of the most important decisions a Prime Minister can make. The first is that we should not join the war in Iran.
Yep, and that should have stuck with that and don't help America or anything. Just nothing. Because even doing that counts as being involved. But no.
The second is we should protect British lives and the British national interest. The leader of the opposition...
And what does national interest mean, people? What does interest mean? A bit of a teaser, bit of a quiz. We all know what that means. Put it in the chat. Our interests. What are those interests? What substance?
Decided that we should join the war against Iran. A week later, that we should not join the war against Iran and to insult our armed forces. She has utterly disqualified herself from ever becoming Prime Minister. Thankfully, she never will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Did he even say who... or did he just point? I didn't hear him announce who was going to be speaking there.
As the Prime Minister knows, my mum proudly worked in the pot banks of Burslem and Tunstall and is watching at home right now.
I don't know who this is off the top of my head.
Tomorrow is International Day of Ceramics, and that matters deeply to Stoke-on-Trent, the historic heart of Britain's ceramic industry. Yes, and Newcastle-under-Lyme.
Stoke. Soft the A500.
With energy prices rising, again, due to global instability, will the Prime Minister please tell my mum and our fellow Stokies what additional support the government will give energy-intensive industries like ceramics so the kilns of Stoke-on-Trent can fire for generations to come?
He raised a really important issue, and I know that not only will his mum be watching, but his constituents, who he serves very, very well. Our supercharger will significantly reduce costs for thousands of major industries. Eligibility for the scheme is being reviewed this year. I can tell my honourable friend we're working with the ceramics industry on whether the scheme can be extended to more firms. Under the last government, industrial energy prices doubled and over 1,000 jobs were lost in the sector. We will not tolerate that.
Said David, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I pay tribute to the Honourable Member for Warrington North for her powerful and courageous speech in the debate on jury trials yesterday. I really hope the Prime Minister was listening. Mr. Speaker, 30 years ago this week, a man carried 4 handguns into Dunblane Primary School and murdered a teacher and 16 children. I was deeply moved by the BBC documentary about it last night and the courage of the parents who campaigned for a ban on handguns to keep other children safe, including Mick North, who lost his 5-year-old daughter Sophie on that dark day. He's rightly called on the Honourable Member for Clacton to renounce his description of the handgun ban as, and I quote, ludicrous, something the member still refuses to do.
Wanker.
And Mr. North has also called for a review of firearms legislation to close any loopholes. Does the Prime Minister agree?
Prime Minister.
Well, I certainly do, and we must never forget the horror of Dunblane and never forget the young children and their teacher who did not come home from school.
Did you know Andy Murray, British and world, of course, tennis champion, was pupil at Dunblane when that happened?
The campaign that families fought to make this country a safer place is a lasting legacy, and we should be enormously grateful for their courage.
Sir Ed Davey.
The Prime Minister for his reply, and I hope the government will close any loopholes. Mr. Speaker, this week families across the country have seen petrol prices rise at the pump, mortgage rates go up, and fixed energy deals get more expensive, all because of a war they did not start and do not support. The leader of the Conservatives has been competing with the Honourable Member for Clacton to be Donald Trump's biggest cheerleader. And the Prime Minister was right to reject their costly warmongering. But last week, I asked him to guarantee that energy bills won't rise by hundreds of pounds in July. He didn't answer. So let me try again. Will he give people that energy bill guarantee now?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this, because people will be really worried about the impact on them, and just to reassure households...
Night, Comrie, Solidarity. See you soon.
At the end of June until July, and therefore that deals with the situation for households there. We are working with the sector and with others and with allies to do everything we can to make sure those energy bills don't rise, so we're working round the clock on that. The most important thing, the most...
You heard it here first. Energy bills are going to rise.
effective thing we can do is to work with our allies to find a way to de-escalate the situation. He's right about the leader.
That's good enough for Ed.
Reform. Last week they were urging us to join. This is serious. To join. If they had been leading the country, we'd be in a war, and they'd now come to Parliament to say, "Oop."
Order. Prime Minister, who said lying again? I want that withdrawn.
Did he say lying? That's when you sometimes correctly point out that someone's lying, you get told off for it in Parliament. Just rewind that a couple of seconds, and also give a shout out to James Holmes in the chat for that super chat. Thank you very much. War, what is it good for? Distracting from Epstein. Absolutely. Paraphrasing the late great Edwin Starr there with his monumental tune from the 70s. Pertaining to Vietnam. Great tune. Thanks again. James, big up James Holmes in the chat, please, everybody.
Those energy bills don't rise, so we're working round the clock on that. The most important thing, the most effective thing we can do is to work with our allies to find a way to de-escalate the situation. He's right about the leader of the opposition, the leader of reform. Last week they were urging us to join. This is serious. To join. If they had been leading the country, we'd be in a war, and they'd now come to Parliament to say, "Oop."
Order. Prime Minister, who said lying again?
Oh, he wasn't. He was just telling Starmer to be quiet because he heard somebody else say lying. He's looking across to his left there.
I want that withdrawn. Is that withdrawn? And I'll deal with it, thank you.
You couldn't fucking fight your way out of a wet paper bag, Lindsay.
Don't want any more off the front bench. We take it very seriously, and calling another member a liar is not acceptable, Prime Minister.
It is, and it fucking should be. It really should be, because the amount of outright lies that these bastards get away with at the dispatch box and have done for decades and decades is beyond reprehensible. And they sustain this in the name of half-millennia-old tradition. You know, the same with the gowns and all of this other ancient, obsolete crap that we're clinging to, like we do our shitty electoral system as well. Just fucking pack it in, because a lie is a lie, and it should be called out. And of all people, in all walks of society, it is these 600 who should be held to account for the lies, probably as much as anybody else. Obviously the police as well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and so that's our position.
Josh Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Too often I hear from SEND families in Hertford and Stortford whose children have been left out of education for months or even years because they can't get a school place that meets their needs within a reasonable distance. I'm campaigning for more investment in the bricks and mortar SEND provision that semi-rural communities like ours need, so families can access support early and easily and their children can thrive in education. So will the Prime Minister back my campaign to expand SEND provision in Hertford and Stortford, and will he arrange a meeting with the relevant minister so we can discuss it in more detail?
Yeah, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, he's right. Families are crying out for change, and that's why it's really critical we get this right. Our reforms will fix the broken SEND system, where parents have to fight for support, replacing it with tailored support personal to a child's need.
Well, a change and a fix there, in the sentence they're not contending tonight. I've not noticed any delivers so far, because long-term viewers will know that normally I normally have a Pavlovian response where that one's concerned as well.
A Best Start family hub in every local authority with a dedicated SEND practitioner will help families with face-to-face support they need. My honourable friend's a great advocate on this issue, and I'm happy to make sure he gets the meeting that he's asking for.
Stephen Flynn.
It's the have a meeting question.
Let's be clear, Donald Trump's war in Iran is illegal,
thank God it's Stephen
and
Flynn.
The situation that has unfolded since is verging on insane. Oil is falling from the skies, sewers are exploding, the IRGC is indiscriminately attacking civilians across the region, cargo ships and potentially even mining the Strait of Hormuz, the economic consequences of which will be stark for the global economy but for every single person living on these isles too. And whether the Prime Minister accepts it or not, he did indeed take us into that war when he allowed the Americans to use UK bases just last week. But I have a specific question. He'll have seen the same footage I have of an American Tomahawk missile landing on a primary school, killing 110 children. Does he believe that to be a war crime?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're all concerned by that footage, but let me be absolutely clear with
Concerned? That was a clear as well. I believe shocked and horrified. Excuse me, sorry. Shocked and horrified are the words that are eluding Keith at the moment as Clear takes a 2-1 lead. Concerned? Oh yes, very, very concerning.
We have 300,000 UK nationals, including Scottish citizens, in the region. Strikes, missiles and drones are being fired into the region,
in the lead.
putting them at great danger. We are taking action to protect them. I'm astonished that the SNP says don't take action to support Scottish citizens.
No, what he is saying is, and he is correct in saying, is that you took actions that have put them in harm's way in the first place. You have assisted in that, and you do not condemn America for a war crime, which was in the question as well, Mr. Former Director of Public Prosecutions. Absolute sap.
Citizens in the region, it's outrageous.
Peter Dowd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. National Highways, the government-owned company, has reneged on a promise to replace a demolished footbridge at Park Lane West in Netherton. It crossed one of the busiest roads and junctions in Merseyside, used by countless residents, particularly children and parents going to and from infant and primary school. My constituents have requested that that bridge be replaced with no ifs or buts. Will the Prime Minister support my constituents' very reasonable request to honour that promise made by National Highways?
Can I thank him for campaigning for his constituents, his residents, who are obviously concerned about this. As I understand it, National Highways has concluded the best option for all users, pedestrians and cyclists, is a new crossing. But I thank him for raising the points, and I'll be happy for ministers to continue.
Never mind this shite. Is Hannah Spencer going to get a fucking question yet?
Discussing with him the options.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This afternoon, the Mandelson papers, or the first tranche, will be released, bringing into the light.
Hidden feature unlocked. Hidden feature unlocked. Please try to remain calm during this extraordinary event.
Yes, the hidden feature is unlocked. There you go. And tonight's secret hidden opposition contender is Mandelson. Here he is. Let's get the count up. Gets his own little corner there. Good, a sordid little corner it is indeed, no doubt. Just show you the full name there. So, one on the board for Mandelson. Scandalson. Right. It's off the mark. Let's get him off the consonants.
for the first time UK institutional knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein and those associated with him. But here in the UK we have our own Epstein, Mohammed Fayed, and the institutions that supported his crimes. As a co-chair of the APPG for the survivors of Al-Fayed and Harrods, along with the Honourable Member for Lichfield, we welcome the actions of the Metropolitan Police in recent days, but we continue to call on them to describe those crimes as what they were, trafficking. Does the Prime Minister recognise that characterisation, and will he meet with the APPG and survivors to hear their asks?
Prime Minister. Can I thank you for raising this really important issue? And I discussed it with the Honourable Member for Lichfield last night, particularly the approach of the APPG, and thank her for her important work on this issue. I'm very happy to meet the APPG and the victims. I think it's very important to do so. She'll know there's an ongoing police investigation, but that doesn't mean that we can't have the meeting and listen to those that need to be listened to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Team Derby is our partnership making sure that the billions of pounds in investment that this Labour government is bringing into Derby benefits the people of Derby in regeneration, skills and good jobs. The government's record investment in Rolls-Royce submarines means hundreds of new jobs and
jobs. I was, before she said submarines, a split second before, I was just about to pause it to say, oh, good jobs like building helicopters to help out with the death showers, or something along those lines. I don't know. You might be able to tell most of this is unscripted. And then submarines. Now, yeah, a lot of clever people, engineers and whatnot, are involved in building submarines. But at the end of the day, there are only certain things that you use military submarines for, that is.
apprenticeships in Derby. So will the Prime Minister firmly reject the green...
So it's all, have you noticed the pattern so far? Helicopters, a lot of car questions, not just this week, last week as well. Do you remember all the questions about, will you do this thing about the A road, these bridges, and I can't get my bloody car from my upper middle class house to the retail park, sort of shit. And now this, more industrial military complex supports. Oh, well, say what you like about Hitler, but he really did recover the economy. Well, that's actually a fake lie as well, for reasons I won't go into, but this military industrial complex shit has just got to go.
Party's defence policies, which would decimate jobs in Derby and leave the United Kingdom unprotected.
Can I thank her? Derby is part of our industrial heritage and has a bright future. Initiatives, as she says, like Team Derby are so important to strengthen key sectors like defence, creating jobs and growth. Our £9 billion deal with Rolls-Royce to boost our fleet of nuclear submarines is testament to that, creating more than 1,000 jobs.
Is this nuclear powered? Of course, or nuclear armed submarines? Oh yeah. That's what I mean. How much do we already spend on Trident? Let's just throw some more nukes onto the pile. Why not?
And safeguarding 4,000 more. Those that oppose all that must answer to the working people that they claim to represent.
Gang Mahindra.
The Prime Minister will be happy that I'm not going to ask about fuel duty. Businesses across South West Hertfordshire are telling me they're now reluctant to take on young workers due to this government's rise in employer national insurance contributions and the crippling Employment Rights Bill. With almost 1 million young people now not in employment, education or training, how exactly does the Prime Minister plan to get Great Britain working again?
Mr. Speaker, we're putting in place the Youth Guarantee, which helps young people into work. It is a serious issue. I would remind him that on their watch, 1 in 8 young people were neither in education, training or work.
Stringer.
Mr. Speaker, the National Audit Office report on Northern Powerhouse Rail, which came out on Monday of this week, surprised none of us.
Northern Powerhouse Rail, you have to laugh, don't you? Northern Rail itself has one of the lowest performing networks as well. I'm not too sure about TransPennine in relation to that, but I can definitely say that in the Northwest, it's one of the worst in the country. Powerhouse, more like shithouse.
In its conclusions that lack of engagement by the Department of Transport with mayoral authorities, local authorities and other involved parties in the north of England was leading to poor programming and lack of investment in the rail system in the north of England.
Yeah.
We deserve in the north of England a rail system fit for the 21st century, not the 19th century, which is what it is fit for.
Yeah. So far
investing
behind.
in the rail system will enable growth in the north of England, which will benefit the whole of the country. Will the Prime Minister take a personal interest in the slowness of investment in the rail system so that we can have that growth?
Prime Minister. Well, thank you for raising this important point. The party opposite gave nothing but false promises for a decade. We will deliver the biggest transformation of transport in the north for a generation, providing up to £45 billion of funding to deliver. We're taking forward all recommendations from the NAO report.
He's not playing this week.
That doesn't change the planning or the trajectory of the project.
Dr. Andrew Murray.
Lammy seems happy this week.
Mr. Speaker, grant cuts and over-optimistic Treasury assumptions
Happier than he should be for someone who's on the cusp of losing his seat.
on council tax base growth mean that 8 fire stations and 96 retained firefighters across Wiltshire and Dorset face the axe. Would the Prime Minister please facilitate an urgent ministerial meeting for Wiltshire and Dorset MPs to discuss extending the precept flexibility permitted elsewhere at no cost to the Treasury to our fire and rescue service, so its fire stations and its dedicated firefighters can continue to serve our community?
Prime Minister.
I thank him for raising this. I don't know the details in the particular case, but I will make sure that the relevant meeting is set up so that the details can be explored.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker. Russia's continued assault on Ukraine has devastated its healthcare system. Hospitals are under extreme pressure and their critical shortage of specialist staff to treat the injured. That is why I, along with other British physiotherapists, travelled to Ukraine to train clinicians who are working under unimaginable strain. Will the Prime Minister join me in thanking Tanisha Sandhu, Daniel Sim, Kay Joe, Andrew Jaggi for the remarkable work, and will he commit to expanding UK-Ukraine clinical training partnerships?
Yes, I will, and can I pay tribute to her and the rest of the delegation for their commendable work in Kyiv. We recently announced a new package of support for Ukraine, enabling highly skilled British surgeons, nurses and physiotherapists to mentor Ukrainian clinicians treating complex battlefield injuries. Mr. Speaker, on one of my recent trips to Kyiv, I went to one of the hospitals where they were treating the burns of those returning from the front line, and it was humbling to see the work that was being done, and I was extremely proud to know that the UK was helping in treating those who had such awful burns.
Kirsty Black.
Westminster's tax on Scotland's energy is holding back investment, and it's costing thousands of families their livelihoods. After months of refusing to do so, the Chancellor has finally now said she is committed to change. So will the Prime Minister confirm to the House today when the OGPM will be introduced to provide certainty for jobs, certainty for investment and, crucially, certainty for energy security?
Prime Minister. Speaker, we all want certainty.
A lot of people will use the term energy security to mean different things. I certainly see it as sustainable, renewable, for example. But fossil fuel enthusiasts will just use that term to essentially mean the acquisition of more planet-destroying fossil fuels that are now obsolete, only used for private profits for the most part, and they're costing us a lot of money as consumers and as citizens as well, and it's revolting.
for energy security, and oil and gas will be part of the mix for many years to come. I'd remind her that 70,000
He's an oil and gas man.
were lost under the SNP and Conservatives in the last decade. We want energy security. We see new nuclear as part of that energy security. And what the SNP do, they block it.
It takes 20 years to get a fucking nuclear power facility online. How does that create energy security in the here and now? And he's about to sit down now without a single mention of renewables. We know which way this dickhead wants to take us. It's right off the edge of the cliff. We're going over 2 degrees average, Starmer. For sure. This is ridiculous. Do you know what the carbon impact of war is as well?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Silently and in semi-secrecy, London and the southeast of England are experiencing the largest mass eviction by a private landlord in decades. Criterion Capital have issued at least 130 no-fault evictions across their portfolio, including in Britannia Point in Collier's Wood in my constituency. Those affected have done nothing wrong. They have paid their rent, looked after their homes and worked hard. They are simply victims of a voracious landlord who always wants more. Will the Prime Minister ensure that in the final weeks before the abolition of no-fault evictions, his government do all they can to hold Criterion Capital to account?
Can I thank her for raising this case? Renters should have security, and I condemn any unfair evictions. I'm proud, Mr. Speaker, to be abolishing...
Oh. It's definitely 2 all. But did we miss an energy security in the earlier question? Oh, I might have to quickly go back and check. Well, that's definitely 2 all. Let's change that. I think we've missed a security on the last question, because I was too busy complaining about something. One very quick moment.
Energy is holding back investment. Yep. So will the Prime Minister confirm
security?
Yes, though it was the second security. Told you. My left eye sees, well, on this occasion, hears all. Oh no. We're not getting hacked by your right ear again, don't worry. So, that means it's 3-2 now. After going behind, quickly regaining the lead. Double efforts in 2 questions. Security. It's hotting up now and there's not too long left in the session.
More.
Let's go.
Will the Prime Minister ensure that in the final weeks before the abolition of no-fault evictions, his government do all they can to hold Criterion Capital to account?
Can I thank her for raising this case? Renters should have security, and I condemn any unfair evictions. I'm proud, Mr. Speaker, to be abolishing Section 21, a practice that's pushed thousands of renters into homelessness. And I'll make sure the Housing Minister looks at the case that she's raised.
Graham Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rural residents in Beverley and Holderness are reeling under the impact of higher fuel prices. Yet 2 days ago, the Chancellor said that in September, fuel duty would go up. Yep. Yeah. So my constituents want to know, as the Leader of the Opposition repeated...
No, that was the other one again. I rewound it a little bit to check on the last question, and when I restarted it, it included the one that I'd already counted as the equaliser, so it's 3-2. That makes sense.
Asked, is that fuel duty going to go up in September and add to the misery of my constituents or not? Prime Minister, for once in this place, give the House and the people of this country an answer. Yes or no?
Fuel duty is frozen. It'll be frozen until September. In light of what's happening in Iran...
This is exhausting. This is exhausting.
Of course we'll look carefully at the situation. But his constituents need to know, and it's right that they know, that it's frozen until September, not fear-marking.
It costs more. The cost has gone up, and it's going to go up again. And they're going back on the promises again. There's no way of tippy-toeing around it. Starmer, you Zionist bitch. Sorry. Oh, goodness.
Martin Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The devastating fire on Union Street in Glasgow has destroyed small businesses and an iconic part of the city's heritage. But the exceptional skill...
Yeah, it was mental that day, wasn't it? There was like a mini riot. There was a brawl in the stadium during the derby, the Celtic Rangers derby, and then the fucking train station burned to the ground, like burned down. Obviously, I mean, just what the fuck? Not a great day to be in Glasgow, but that was mental. I think there was news of that coming through when we were on stream the other night.
And courage of our emergency services prevented an even greater tragedy. We need a rapid, thorough investigation with urgent implementation of recommendations. Local businesses, commuters and residents are already feeling the impact, and recovery must be a shared priority. Will the Prime Minister join me in thanking our emergency services and supporting efforts to rebuild this vital part of Glasgow?
Prime Minister. Can I thank him for raising this devastating incident for Glasgow? My thoughts, and I'm sure everybody's thoughts, are with those who've seen their businesses and their livelihoods destroyed. Can I thank the emergency services who responded so quickly to the situation? And the people of Glasgow have seen far too many historic buildings suffer terrible fires over the last few years. And that's why we're investing to protect heritage buildings in England.
It was hundreds of years old, wasn't it, of course, as well. Very iconic part of Glasgow.
We'll keep a careful eye on the situation that he arises.
Stephen Gatlin.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday in the Welsh Senate, a secret Whitehall memo was called out by its members that showed this government's attitude to devolution, a muscular unionism that Boris Johnson would have been proud of.
Yeah, so documents have been revealed that he told MPs to basically override the concerns of devolved governments in Wales and Scotland. Just do as you please. Who cares about their independent wishes and whatnot? Just another smattering, sprinkling of authoritarianism. It's another day in the life of Keith.
So can I ask the Prime Minister, when Scottish and Welsh voters go to the polls, will he respect that decision? And furthermore, what is it about those elections that so seems to terrify him at the moment?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to make any apologies for spending more money in Scotland or in Wales to improve people's lives. There's been record investment.
They produce more energy than they use, and they have the highest energy bills in Europe in Scotland, Keith. Why don't you do something about that?
Under this government into Scotland, the question is...
And a fine example to the rest of the world, an energy surplus with over 80% renewables now. Fine example. And all the while, they've done that under the cosh of England, who just obviously put more austerity on them from Westminster.
Where's the money gone, John?
King Craft.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, members from across this House and the other place felt compelled to write to Joe Boydell, the Chief Executive of Travelodge, following reports that in 2022, a man was given a key card and the room number of a woman staying alone in one of their hotels by staff, entered her room and sexually assaulted her. Most alarmingly, statements made by Travelodge implied that staff had acted fully in line with their security and safety protocols and within industry standards. Will the Prime Minister join me in urging Ms Boydell to take us up on our invitation to meet with all interested members of this House and the other place to outline what action Travelodge are urgently taking to meet their duty to safeguard women staying in their hotels?
Can I thank her for raising this absolutely shocking case and for talking to me last night about the details of it. My thoughts are with the victim, who had a right to be safe and who has failed in the most appalling way. Travelodge must take serious action to ensure such an appalling incident can never happen again. I'm concerned at reports that they haven't met members of Parliament. They should do so, and I should add that the Safeguarding Minister wants to meet them as well, and they should do that as well.
Vicky Slade.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. 2 weeks ago, it was confirmed that no extra time will be provided in the other place to allow the assisted dying bill to complete its course. If this blocks the will of this democratically elected House, it will be a travesty for democracy and, more importantly, a tragedy for all those who are relying on it and have waited so long, not least my own dad. Will he act now to prevent the dismissal of the views of 76% of the public, especially as other parts of our country approve it, and so secure a real legacy for social policy in this Parliament?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank her for raising this? And I know there are strong views, and I acknowledge her personal connection in relation to this, which shows how serious the issues are. It is a matter of conscience. It's for Parliament to decide the passage of the legislation and any changes. Scrutiny is a matter for the other place. We have a responsibility to make sure any legislation is workable, effective and enforceable.
That completes Prime Minister's question.
Well, that's it, and it's, well, stunning comeback whilst on the ropes till late on for security. 3-2 victory there, and one appearance from the hidden feature, Mandelson, as you can see. Well, let's just absorb that session. It was very limited, wasn't it? Fuel duty, of course. Do you back modes of vehicle that we use in warfare, etc. for the most part? I thought Stephen Flynn was rather good. So we'll see how that's going to affect the league.
Oh no.
Oh yes. And at the top, that means Security is going to extend its lead with 18 points. So Clear will remain on 4, suffering a loss, and will be replaced next week. In fact, just take a quick look now, I think. Because, like I said, there are only a few contenders remaining that Security could possibly challenge. We'll just write that result in. So that's a 3-1 home win for Security. 3-2, sorry. It was. And, yeah, so only 2 contenders remain. See what happens next week. That doesn't affect the bottom part of the table at all, so not really worth taking a look where that's concerned. That would be that for another week of Keith's Catchphrases.
We now
Well, we're all good. Are you all good now? At your end? Ends? Respectively? Right, we'll crack on. More stuff to get through. All good now? Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Marvellous. This is good news.
Can you dig it?
Okay. Yeah, after PMQs, we do like to have a look at the latest polling. Let's see how all this is getting through to the electorate. I want to say as well, disappointed Anna Spencer didn't get a question if she was there today. latest national poll from YouGov. This one's quite interesting. It has the Tories in second, with the Greens in third. And even more interesting, Labour way, way down there with just 38 seats. Wow. 8 behind the SNP. Putting them in 6th place. What do we make of that? Well, first off, we see again it does show Reform in the lead, but by a reduced amount. We're seeing this sort of whittle away the 300 plus seats. Polls seem to be diminishing. Do you think that's a fairly accurate guess at how many seats the Greens will get? Do you think they'll get more? A lot of people think they'll certainly get more than 100 seats. $150? More? Who knows? But Labour right down there in the doldrums, losing 373. Wow. Just a poll, of course. It's a YouGov. Normally considered to be somewhat reliable-ish. So that's the latest. It's bad news for Keith. It's very bad news for Keith.
Oh, God!
Can't get much worse, can it? Oh, well, actually it can, because take a look at this, people. The Unite Union have voted to cut Labour affiliation by 40% on the anniversary of the Birmingham bin strike. 40%. That's a pretty big cut. For me, I'd say get out entirely, wholesale, 100%. But that's still going to hurt. That's going to hurt Starmer. So again, union support down, memberships down. Absolutely dying in the polls. The most unpopular Prime Minister in recorded history. On and on it goes. But he's surely just in the final rows now before he meets his political demise. And I should say it's about time as well, because while Sharon Graham has been very vocally critical of Keir Starmer, I think the time for action such as that has been quite forthcoming for a while. Yes, Andy, financial trouble for Labour. One of the obvious problems with that, of course, in the shady political realms that people like Keir Starmer occupy. The worse that gets, the worse the people they start to appeal to get as well. The shadier and shadier it comes, it starts to snowball. Already, of course, being supported by literally the most reprehensible people on the planet, with the Zio lobbies. And it is a shame, but they threw the baby out with the bathwater on their part to get rid of the leader they didn't like. They had to kill the party, but they couldn't revive it, as it were, as they thought. Yeah, politically speaking, it's like getting out and popping the tyres on your own political vehicle, metaphorically, and getting back in and wondering why it doesn't go anywhere. less said about the driver the better, but I've been very vocal about him so far this evening anyway. But we did also have one mention of Peter Mandelson, because yes, this batch of emails has been released pertaining to the decision to appoint him US ambassador, which we all know, let's get one thing straight, they knew that he was dodgy, they knew his reputation beforehand, decided to go along with it anyway. That is flat outright undeniable. Where Keir Starmer's concerned, you know, it's like, oh good, it turns out he actually lied to us during the process. Could turn out that he might have been a bit of a dishonest person, aren't we so shocked? Because it does confirm, as we knew back then, when concerns were raised, that concerns were raised. Very, very quick skim through an article first, and then I've got a clip of a reaction to that. Actually, it's yeah, just the one clip. So it's a couple of clips. Shock horror. Be so surprised. Prepare the smelling salts, you know. How could this have happened? Apparently there was a reputational risk. Knocked me over with a feather. Where are we here? We need to screen share, of course. You need to see this. Okay, let's be rapid. Starmer has warned that Mandelson's relationship with Epstein posed a reputational link. Before he was confirmed as US ambassador, documents released by the government include advice sent to the Prime Minister which said the pair's relationship continued after Financial's conviction for procuring an underage girl in 2008. And there is this about this payoff, a settlement payment. Can you believe this? The cheeky twat actually wanted £500,000 because he's saying that that's what he would have been paid if he'd have carried on his role and whatnot. That's still just barefaced cheek as it is. In the end, he got £75,000. Can you believe it? That's the reward. Can you imagine if you lie on your CV, having a reputation for lying on your CV amidst other sordid activities and questionable, beyond questionable friendships with absolutely despicable people? What would happen to you? But no. He thinks he walks on water, this man. He probably thinks he genuinely deserves it as well. But when he should be acting as humbly as he can, considering what we already know, what's already been publicly released at the very least, to turn around and do that is just incredible. But now Keith says he shouldn't have been given the 75 grand in the first place. So that's a double blow for the so-called vetting process. It's bad enough on the front end that he was appointed, and then at the back end of it, it's actually happened again. We sort of accidentally gave him 75 grand. 75 big ones, 75 smackaroonies. The Prime Minister has maintained that he did not know the extent and depth of the pair's relationship when Mandelson was appointed. Yeah. Did your magic unicorn tell you that one? And if so, I've got a bridge to sell you. The actual total with £547,000 to 547,201. Jesus Christ. Ridiculously precise amount. Peter Mandelson wants £547,201 immediately. Shouldn't have given him a penny. Oh, those Jones. Again, he's just so... Can you imagine this guy trying to... I don't know. Sell you something or whatever. Just unconvincing. Looks like he knows he's got one of the worst jobs in the country. You know, chief secretary. Wakes up every day to that. He's got the real think of the money face. And the way he talks, yeah, no, it's just all legitimate. You're all wankers. I hate my life. I hate my job. I certainly hate being dragged out at this time in the morning to have to listen to whatever daytime bollocks, Richard Madeley, who else? Nick Robinson maybe, on the radio. He just really emanates that kind of vibe. Just, it's summed up well by the thumbnail of that video, which we're not going to watch because I've got him on a separate clip here, but pertaining to something else, which we'll get on to in just a moment. Let's take a look at the other clip. Now this is a take from someone who needs no introduction on this channel, certainly, and it really is a point. Really is on the money, I guess, as always, about Mandelson's appointment in the first place.
Yes, I am critical of the Prime Minister, and I think I have every right to be critical of the Prime Minister. It's not what personally happened or didn't happen to me. It is about the way the government has behaved, the way the government has decided that getting on the good side of Donald Trump meant appointing Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington. I want to know at what point they knew about his relationship with Epstein. Now, if Mandelson told the Prime Minister the relationship with Epstein is over, the Prime Minister should have still asked a question. What were you doing supporting him at the time when he'd just come out of prison on a very serious criminal charge, criminal conviction of his treatment of a young woman?
Do you think the Prime Minister's taken responsibility for this? He says he has.
Not properly. He said he's taken responsibility for it because he made the appointment and he realised the risk that was involved. Well, if he realised the risk that was involved, why did he do it? I suspect there's also, he was trying to assert himself over the Foreign Office, because the Foreign Office generally don't like political appointments to major diplomatic posts. They prefer a career diplomat to do it. And I'm sure that they gave him pretty strong advice on that matter. Now, the Prime Minister is not out of the woods yet, by any manner of means, because these documents have come out. People will now be reading them in some detail. There's then the ones that are withheld by the police. And what I've also asked for is a readout of the verbal briefings that the Prime Minister would have been given before making this, to him, fateful decision.
What do you sense from the people that you know in the Labour Party as a strength of feeling around this?
Huge. They feel very, very angry and very, very let down. These are ordinary, loyal members of the Labour Party feel that they've been badly let down by this. But
the question is, do you remember yesterday I was talking a lot about how the mainstream media talks so much about, feeling and this and the atmosphere in the room, whatever situations going on. That was kind of one of the ones I was on about. But the thing is, essentially, it boiled down to what would anyone with a brain and feelings think about this? Like, what are the, what are these emotions, these human emotions of which you describe, of which you speak? It's just like really bizarre. Like, who couldn't be absolutely revolted by him and by this, by his appointment? Nobody. with a functioning cranium.
Beyond what they would call the usual suspects.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well beyond that. But the other side of it is that the numbers of Labour MPs that have been getting up and down in the House of Commons saying how much they deplore Mandelson, what a terrible man he is, etc., etc., they are people that less than 2 years ago, in fact 21 months ago, were quite happy to have Mandelson in their constituencies, campaigning with them in the general election, be photographed.
People like Wes Streeting, for example.
With them and everything else. There's a record number of social media photos been taken down.
Yes.
Of people with Mandelson.
I know they're all. 1 minute it's like, oh yeah, great, he's on board, and isn't he a Labour legend? Again, paraphrasing Wes Streeting. It's all about Peter Mandelson. And then the next minute, no, he was sort of around. I remember him being in the room. Well, I didn't certainly speak to him myself. No, barely knew the guy. Take all of this down immediately. Suppress.
What taking responsibility look like?
What it would look like is, first of all, admission that he completely ignored the advice he was given, completely ignored it in every way, which meant that he made this decision. He's then got to decide on his own future and his own position. I think it's very serious for the Prime Minister.
Standing down, potentially?
Could be, but that, I imagine, will be played out in the Labour Party.
Well, I think he'll still cling on until the locals. I mean, what's that? 7-ish weeks away. So probably not a lot of chance of him stepping down before then, unfortunately. But now this, he's going to take even more of a beating over this. It just keeps piling on, and he's still got 7 weeks to go to mess it up for himself. And unfortunately, as he does so for the entire country as well, near the world, where geopolitics is concerned. And well done, Corbyn. Yes, and I did say I had Darren Jones in another clip. This is about another story. We'll move on now to, of course, more disgusting news. More moves against people's legal right to protest. Again, there's been a lot of back and forth, of course, about the prescription of PAL action. Recently, this time concerning an annual event, the Cuds March, which takes place once a year, will now not be allowed. This is a decision that the Metropolitan Police have made for very pathetic and convoluted reasons, which I'll get on to just after, very quickly thanking MIDI Doctors for sending over 5 gifted memberships. Solidari-Tea for those. Let's big up MIDI Doctors in the chat, please, everybody. So that's 216. Marvellous. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support as always, MIDI. That's the way to brew it, people. Nice shooting. Okay, just back onto the topic now. I have to fire through a few stories. The reasons the Met Police have given, as I said, quite pathetic. First of all, this is pro-peace, anti-genocide march, where Palestine is concerned. Of course, Viva Viva Palestina. And of course, there's been a lot of cross-support against the illegal attacks on Iran. But the Met Police have decided that vague reasons, this shouldn't happen, because that will mean that people are supporting Iran. We can't have that. They certainly can't have that. security concerns, this kind of language, because when you look at the huge swathes of numbers that have showed out on a lot of Palestine demos, a lot of other demos, and now more recently there have been obviously stop bombing Iran demos in London as well, the stats just don't add up. There are very, very few incidents at these events which involve tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people. So it's complete bollocks, it's a complete lie, it's establishment mistruth from the Met Police again, unfortunately infringing on our rights of protest. However, they've said that there could be a static demonstration, but there cannot be the march itself. What do you make of this, people? I'm obviously personally disgusted by this, as regular viewers will know, as a environmental and political protester and activist myself. New levels of dystopia every week. Let's see what Darren Jones has got to try and defend it with. And it's shockingly bad.
The Home Secretary is intending to ban the annual...
Sorry, and shockingly loud as well. Apologies for that. I'll just have a quick word with the sound engineer off mic while you watch this clip.
Al-Quds Day March
wanker.
in London.
You nearly deafened me then.
This weekend, the organisers say it has been a peaceful demonstration
it's still on.
for the last 40 years. So why ban it?
Well, look, this is a power that's not used very often. The last time it was used was 2012. Government is very careful about these types of interventions because of...
Yeah, we only do them when we really, really need to please Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Is his point. Sorry about the volume issue there. Graham, thank you very much for the super chats. You're still unable to gift memberships on your mobile phone. No problem. Do appreciate the support with the super chat as well. And of course, while you're on your mobile device, please do send us some hype points as well, if you will, people. If you're also watching on a mobile device, let's show some support for the super chats. Oh no. Commenting so quickly, I can't keep up. Thanks again, Graham. So they've pulled out very technical and rare piece of legislation where protest concerned. No valid reason whatsoever.
Of course, so long as you're legal and peaceful, you can protest on anything you like in this country.
No, we can't, as you've just clearly demonstrated, but go on. You could protest about anything you like. Just not this.
Freedom of speech, and that's something that we all care about. But it's a Metropolitan Police request of the Home Secretary. They've looked at it operationally. They will need to speak for themselves on that, but I suspect they will have considered the consequences or risk of adjacent protests, the fact that it was a moving protest through London, hard to police in those circumstances.
Well, because they're going to get the 8 Zionists that they've managed to drag together, at one point. Or is he talking about, Yaxley Lennon's mob potentially showing up? Because as far as I know, there wasn't set to be any official far-right protest in London this coming Saturday. Also needs to give a shout-out to Saul Staniforth for this clip, getting this one from media as well, because credits where credit's due. So, yeah, a strawman argument, what invisible people who aren't going to be there might clash with these people who just want to say that they're all about peace and not war. Quite pathetic from Jones. Again, let's go back and hear what JC thinks about this now, as the leader of your party. Nearly said independent MP for a moment there, but of course now the parliamentary leader of your party. This is his first day in action since he picked up the title.
I feel very worried whenever I hear about public demonstrations and marches being banned, because it is a restriction on our free speech. This country would very quickly condemn any other country that started banning public protest, even Iran or elsewhere. It doesn't mean that there hasn't...
That is one of the massive ironies and double standards about this as well. Just right off the back of, look how protesters are being treated in other countries, well, this specific country at the moment. And now this.
And should be very strong discussions between the police and the organisers of the march, proper stewarding of it and proper agreements. I've been involved in many marches.
Have you been on this one before?
I've been on a demonstration of it many years ago, but not this particular march, no. But I do think banning demonstrations is something that makes me worried, because I want to live in a society where people can freely express their opinions. Obviously, crucially, it's got to be peaceful and got to be respectful.
Yeah, it does. And Darren Jones, can't say you can protest about anything you like. I still can't believe he said that. Just wow. Gets worse by the hour. Darren Jones. But well said, Jeremy Corbyn there. But let us finish with something positive, people. Something to be merry about, a reason to celebrate. As the final story on tonight's stream, of course, good news. The case against Kneecap has now been dismissed, thrown out. There are going to be no further trials or reprimands for Mo Cara. Let's see what's happening. This is the press conference. I believe this might start a little loud as well. Hoping it got turned down. But let's go. Do it.
Yeah!
That's not too bad.
What's happening at Cardigan? Thank you to everyone for coming to West Belfast today. I owe eternal gratitude to my legal team, who left no stone unturned in ensuring justice was upheld. This entire process was never about me, never about any threat to the public, and never about terrorism, a word used by your government to discredit people you oppress, both in Ireland and across the world. It was always about Palestine, about what happens if you dare to speak up about...
And if you don't know what this was for, holding up Lebanese and Palestinian flags during a gig, pretty much. You know, they've been very outspoken about Palestine, about Israel, also about Keir Starmer on stage as well. The fuck Keir Starmer at Glastonbury. But this whole thing, the whole court case, just being about flags as well, it's ridiculous. And the legislation that the government are trying to use is ridiculous as well.
What happens if you can reach large groups of people and expose their hypocrisy? About the lengths Britain will go to cover up Israeli and US war crimes. As people from Ireland, we know oppression, colonialism, famine and genocide. As people from the north of Ireland, we know it even more. As people from West Belfast, it still affects our communities and our families. We have suffered greatly, and we still suffer under British occupation. An occupation built to dehumanise, an occupation built to divide. Your attempt to label me a terrorist failed, because I was right and yet again Britain was wrong. I will not be silent, Kneecap will not be silent, the people of West Belfast will not be silent. We said we would fight you in your court and we would win. We have. Feed hands now. Your own High Court has ruled against you. The pathetic thing about this whole process is that you falsely tried to label me a terrorist when it is the British government ministers that are arming and assisting a genocide in Gaza. the destruction of Lebanon and the senseless slaughter of school kids in Iran. Free Palestine, free the 6 counties, Chucky Island.
Well done, and a great speech there, Mo. Yeah, good to end on a high as well, because I know a lot of people who've been very supportive of Kneecap. Thanks again, members of the channel. Thanks again, people who've sent super chats and gifted memberships on tonight's stream as well. If you're watching back later on, super thanks are also available. There's the Buy Me a Coffee page. If you want to check that out, it's in the description of any content on the channel. Thanks a lot for all of your support, people. And here we are at 216. Just 34 away now from the goal itself. And as I always like to highlight as well, it's been amazing watching our community expand and grow as well. Because that's what these streams are all about. Putting the world back to rights, as well as sharing ideas, of course, as well, in solidarity. Whilst the members scroll is whirling away there, because it does get longer and longer, but that's a good thing. Let's see the latest on the poll. Most of you thinking that the Iran war is going to go on for months. And just narrowly though, 7% in front of years on 41. But most of you, apart from 11%, thinking it will last longer than some weeks. And a reminder, it's still open if you want to get your votes in. We'll leave that open until the very, very, very end of the stream. Sometimes, so far towards the end, that I have been known once or twice in the past to forget to announce the results. There you go. That's live streaming. It's late as well. And we're going to be doing a raid as well. Stick around, people. And let's see where raid into. I feel like I missed something when I was doing the oh, of course, just another shout out for the hype points if you're watching on mobile device as well. I have to keep mentioning that. Spread the word. Spread it far and wide. Hype points is a thing. It's just taking its time. Searching for who's live. Have we all hit thumbs up as well? That's the final reminder. On that front.
Socialists.
Oh my God.
pretty easy decision. We're going to go to No Justice. The excellent Helena at No Justice. Do subscribe. If you're not familiar with the streamer, with the channel, No Justice MTG. Pretty sure that most of you are already. But if not, that's where we're going. And I do suggest hanging around for it. You might recognise them as often in conversation with Kevin Logan as well as Zach Polanski on his Bold Politics and Navarra Media as well, I believe. Well, believe. I've seen with my own eyes. With my left eye. Okay. We're all set for the raid. We're locked in, and that is going to be the end of the poll as well. It looks as though the months have it. The months have it. Unlock. But yeah, pretty close vote. 48%, 41% for years, and 11% for weeks. Personal opinion. Yeah, I would lean mostly towards months. Wouldn't be surprised. Years, with America's reputation for quagmires. Oh, come on, mate. It'll be over by Christmas. That wasn't an American accent, I know, but yeah, that old sentiment that always proves out to be wrong. Pretty close one as well. So it's done. It's over. The poll is done. And all that remains is for me to thank you for watching the stream. I've been your humble host, Lefty. This has been the Brews at 10. On my left eye, power to the people, free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan, Yemen, and the entirety of the Middle East. Don't let the bastards grind you down. My left eye, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night.
The door is open and you can leave.
It's what Hitler and Goering did, and it is textbook. And if you think the next time it happens, we're gonna recognize it because they're wearing scary uniforms, you're out of your damn mind.